the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
Good morning, a beautiful Thursday morning it is. You're tuned into the Business Morning Live on BusinessDay television. We've got a packed morning ahead, starting off with the morning news. We then move to the newspaper review. We bring you the conversation on the show and wrap up with the social listening segment. We go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you the morning news. Just stay with us. You're welcome to the BusinessDay Business Life News. I am Deborah Eze. Let's see what's making headlines. Dangote Refinery cuts petrol price to 1,165 naira per litre and diesel to 1,570 naira per litre. NDIC begins payout to depositors of 46 failed microfinance bank, moves to recover assets. New crypto tax rules trigger industry concerns over 1.5% stamp duty. And Osun moves to challenge EFCC over frozen government account. Let's begin the news. The Dangote Refinery has reduced the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit to 1,165 naira per litre, while lowering the price of diesel to 1,570 naira per litre in its latest pricing adjustment. The price reduction is expected to ease pressure on fuel marketers and could gradually translate into lower pump prices for consumers, depending on transportation costs and retail margins. The move comes amid shifting global crude oil prices and ongoing competition within Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector. The latest adjustments reinforces Dangote Refinery's growing influence on domestic fuel pricing as it continues to ramp up production and supply the local market. Industry stakeholders will be watching closely to see whether other suppliers and marketers respond with similar price cuts in the coming days. And moving on, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has commenced payment of insured deposits to customers of 46 liquidated microfinance banks while intensifying efforts to recover the failed institution's assets to settle outstanding claims. The corporation said the asset recovery exercise is aimed at maximizing the value of the failed bank's assets to enable additional payments to uninsured depositors and other eligible creditors after the initial insured deposits have been paid. NDIC urged affected customers to come forward with the required documentation to facilitate prompt payment of their insured funds. The corporation reaffirmed its commitment to protecting depositors, maintaining confidence in the banking system, and ensuring an orderly resolution of failed financial institutions through efficient liquidation and asset recovery processes. And in other news, Nigeria's new cryptocurrency tax framework has sparked concerns across the digital assets industry, following the introduction of a 1.5% stamp duty on certain crypto-related transactions. Industry stakeholders warn that the new levy could increase transaction costs, discourage investment, and slow the growth of the country's digital asset ecosystem. They argue that while regulation is necessary to improve transparency and boost government revenue, the tax burden should not undermine innovation or drive users to informal or offshore platforms. The development comes as Nigeria continues efforts to establish a clearer regulatory framework for digital assets. Stakeholders are urging the government to engage with industry players to ensure the new tax rules strike a balance between revenue generation, consumer protection, and the continued growth of the country's rapidly expanding crypto sector. And to end the news, the Osun State government has begun legal steps to challenge the freezing of one of its accounts by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, describing the action as unlawful and detrimental to government operations. State officials said the account freeze has affected the smooth running of government activities and vowed to seek judicial intervention to restore access to the funds. The government maintains the due process was not followed and insists it would vigorously defend its position in court. The development sets the stage for a legal battle between the state government and the anti-graft agency, with the outcome expected to clarify the scope of the EFCC's power in relations to state government accounts and public finances. And that does it this morning on the news. Up next is the newspaper review. Just stay with us.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doreen is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
And I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Balata.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day Television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Balata.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day Television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
Right, this is still the Business Day CEO Forum here at Eco Hotel and Suite. I'm still speaking to our CEOs, business leaders, and key stakeholders across the business landscape. And I'm here with the MD and the CEO of Energia, Mr. Oladimeji Basharam. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr.
Thank you also
Basharam.
for having me here.
Talk to me about your key takeaway. You just finished a panel right now. Talk to me about some of the proceedings from that panel.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I really want to say thank you to Business Day, 14 years of doing this, of actually having us to dialogue, bringing both the private, the government, and everybody in to have a conversation. My first takeaway is that we all have a responsibility as Nigerians, whether as CEO or even as a citizen, to make sure that we invest and we are part of this country. That's the first one. The second thing is also, it's not just government alone. I sit on a company that our annual revenue is in billions of naira. So I need to ensure that at not just delivering profit to the shareholders, that I also deliver value to Nigerians. We provide energy, and so we will comply and ensure that energy is provided. So I picked that up. The third one is also that we have an infrastructure deficit, and it will take all of us to invest into that. So it is going back now to look at our strategy and say, where do we fit into this stream as part of my takeaway from this forum.
Fantastic. And when we talk about where we fit into this stream, let's talk about the theme for today's event, which is from stability to shared prosperity. Now, what will shared prosperity look like for you from the lens of an energy lens? What would that look like?
Yeah, thank you. Very excellent question. So what does it mean for me? It means that we run a company that is first able to provide energy to drive growth to for this nation. That we ensure that our energy is affordable, is available, and is accessible. That's the first thing, to make sure that we help businesses, the SMEs, the 90%, to be able to scale up. And they'll need energy. So that's the first one, so that they are also part of the shared prosperity. The second one is that individual Nigerians will provide employment, but not just employment, we provide intellectual capacity and growth for them, so that they also prosper intellectually, so it becomes shared. It's not just the company. We invest in development of people. So we move away from just having a typical engineer, but we provide a resource to the nation that somebody would be able to benefit. The third one is also to provide governance prosperity, that we have a group of leaders that can run the business, even beyond us. And that's what we're investing into, to make sure that it's shared prosperity.
Nice. if you're to look right now between now 2027 and then 10 years from now, what's a signal or trend or shift in your sector today that you would say that every business leader should be paying attention to, and why?
Yeah, the first one is technology. The AI is taking over the world. We cannot pretend that we are not going to be impacted. So we need to start investing in the technology. We need to also follow the trend in terms of the governance of AI, the technology that is. The second thing also now is that Nigerians are being entrusted with running the company. 60% of the oil and gas sector, the production of today is provided by Nigerian oil companies. So we need to keep the trend up. When the international oil companies leave, Nigerians should be able to take it over and run it successfully. So that's the second trend. We need to keep up the trend. The third one also is that we are competing with the fintechs for resources. So we need to be attractive for people to come in. We need to go to the universities, ensure that we have enough invest in development at the university level, partner with universities for researches, because we are competing with fintech for resources. They are very lucrative, and so that's a trend that we see that we must do something about so that we are not out of business.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oladimeji Basharu, for stopping by at our booth today, and also just the insightful conversation, brief and very, very impactful. Thank you very much.
And thank you also for having me. I really enjoyed the section today. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Business Morning Live, and this is a newspaper review segment where we explore the major stories making headlines across the nation's newspaper. I am Deborah Eze, and definitely I'm not doing this alone. I'm going to be analyzing the headlines with...
Right, well, thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Appeal to my country. Good morning.
Oh, you called your full name this morning.
Oh, don't I usually do that?
It's about to be a good day.
Well, I thought you don't have too many today. Two gentlemen, as we call them.
Right.
Good morning, Deborah. How are you today?
I'm very well.
It's been raining Lagos. I mean, rainy time in Lagos this morning.
It's funny how on my way here it wasn't raining.
It started on my axis this morning.
This morning?
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
I said, okay, maybe for mainland. Okay.
Okay, what is wrong with mainland?
No. I said maybe I didn't mean it that way. Don't put words in my mouth. I mean, maybe the mainland is not raining this morning.
Yeah, it wasn't raining.
I did not mean it that way. I only mean maybe it's not raining on the mainland this morning. Yeah. But the island is being a very wet morning. I'm sure maybe I'm I will tell you. Maybe from my axis down to Lekki. To this axis now, and I'm sure perhaps it could have started on the mainland as well. So nothing is on the mainland.
Because it's already falling here at Marina.
I mean, it's down. I don't know. Because the women played yesterday.
Why do you have to talk to me about football?
Because I just remember.
Let me now talk to you about wrestling, right?
Okay. I don't know about that.
Okay. Do you know that?
I just heard about the.
Yes, Obafemi.
Nigeria. Okay, recently put on like that by flowing down to. It was a producer that posted something like that. I was like, okay. And I was looking at this Nigerian accent, you know. It's a Nigerian too.
That's not Nigerian accent.
Seriously?
Do you speak like that?
I think I do. Maybe. I think
I tell you that you don't know what is wrong with you.
I listened to him and I was like, whoa. But that's also the name that buffeted me. Seriously.
That's not like
but he grew up in Nigeria, right?
No, he did not.
Okay.
In Alabama.
US. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But he also shot to Nigeria as well.
I doubt.
Okay.
I doubt that.
Well, that's the first time I listened to him anyway. So maybe I've not really listened well.
That's not Nigerian.
To understand the accent.
Somebody is saying Obafemi.
Of course, it's not that Nigerian.
Like typical Yoruba man.
Exactly.
The way he sounds.
Flowing down to to a wrestling ring. I was wondering, I've never seen that.
He's just trying to leverage on. I like Obafemi very much.
Okay.
I'm a fan, but I think he's just trying to leverage on the culture, which is not a bad thing. But you saying it sounds Nigerian.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't sound like that.
Okay.
Anyways, let's take a look at what the front page of the Business Day newspaper, Guardian, Punch, Vanguard are reporting this morning, and then we'll wrap up the newspaper review with the cartoon of the day. Now, kicking off with the Business Day newspaper, the big story on the front page of the Business Day this morning reads, Nigeria Nikon in court with NICOM over recapitalization process as exercise claims first casualty. This week we've had insurance. Take the big story. I think 2 times in a row now. We had it on Monday.
I guess on Monday and on Tuesday. Of course, we left on Monday. Yes, I think on Monday.
Now again.
And not today, exactly.
Right.
Yes, but it is what it is anyway. The capitalization just ended. So it is one of the important matter that is actually developing and unfolding a conversation that is unfolding. So I think it is expected and it is needed. We're going to be able to see that. So I think it is expected.
Right. Let's look at more stories on the Business Day before we analyze. Yes, at the top of the Business Day newspaper, we have South Africa targets Dangote refinery secondary listing after planned Nigeria IPO. And you can get that story on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. And we have Nigeria owns a mint but still prints currency abroad. And that is on page 31. Very interesting story right there. And we have Osun accounts freeze, puts EFCC's investigative power under legal scrutiny, and that is on page 30. All right, let's analyze. I think we're going to take each and every story here on the I really like it. The story this morning,
and I kind of agree with Deb anyway. I kind of agree less. So maybe I should start with the big story. Do you mind that?
With the big story.
Because just like, and I think just like you asked me at the beginning, the week has actually been the week of insurance. Anyway, the capitalization just ended. It ended July 31. So I'm sure the whole of August we have to be able to see closing of hands. Who has met the target? Who has met the threshold, who hasn't, what is going to happen to the fate of those who didn't meet, what would they use with the finance. Well, a lot of all those things would actually be there. But I think the first secretariat, I mean, who put this story out there? Modestus, okay. I mean, our insurance editor himself. So, but the question there is, we expect this to happen, especially the casualties. I think, I mean, as is that you rightly put it there, we've actually been able to see. And the first casualty is Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim's 2 major insurance companies, the Nigerian Insurance Corporation, otherwise called the Nigerian very close to us around this particular axis. And then we have NICOM, Nigerian Insurance Commission as well. Nikon Insurance Limited, Nikon. The 2 of them, we've seen that they've actually been able to take the regulatory body, which is the NICOM, to court, right? Over non-listed, because NICOM on Monday, remember, released 43 insurance companies that have met the target, the new capital buffer, as we call it, the new capitalization, and those have actually been able to meet. Unfortunately, those 2 companies were not there, and which by implication, I have not really been able to understand the meat of the issue. By implication, it means that they have not met, I mean, they have not been able to meet the capital requirement. But Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim, don't forget, is presently the Nigerian ambassador to United Nations as well. This is took it upon, I mean, to the fact that they're actually very, very sure that they've met this target, right? And that, in fact, liquidators are being appointed, to actually be able to wind down their assets. So what that means, a company that could not be able to meet up that capital base is no longer fit to actually be able to operate insurance business in Nigeria. And what happens, a liquidator is usually appointed. It's more or less like those that are able to value their assets and liabilities, pay those that are actually indebted to settle the people, and then they wind down the company, as we call it in finance parlance. So I'm sure that it's a legal tussle that we will see in days ahead. They are actually be able to take NICOM, don't forget that's Nigerian Insurance Commission, is the regulator. They are the ones in charge of, okay, who are those that have met the threshold, who are those that haven't met it. Nigerian V and NICON. So I'm sure Nikon is N-I-C-O-N. Took Nikon to court, exactly. So it's the case there. I will see how, when the legal firework, when it begins, what is likely going to be able to happen. But Nikon is not a push. I mean, I'm talking about Nikon itself. It's one of the respected, esteemed institution when it comes to financial regulation in Nigeria. So I believe that they have their reasons
while the two companies were actually not listed, has been, I've been having the ability to be able to meet that particular threshold. So I'm sure we'll not be able to preempt the court. The case is, they've actually, Nigerian V from Information which came yesterday, and Nikon, as well as some others who actually be able to meet the threshold, the target, as it's called, the capital, the minimum capital, the minimum capital base, will likely be able to see that, and then how that will pan out in court. We would like to be able to see it in this ahead.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's take the Nigerian owns a mint but still prints currency abroad.
Yeah, bro. I don't always definitely interested in that. So sorry, I know.
Of course, I have to, as a good citizen. It's my duty to be interested.
To question and ask.
Of course.
Right? And I think, don't forget, we one of the important national assets that we have is the Nigerian minting and printing company.
Yeah,
is around that Victoria Island. There is an important federal government parastatal.
Yeah.
In fact, they are responsible for not only currency, they also print important national,
security printing
papers,
in general.
So white papers, where all the examination papers are printed there.
Yeah.
INEC ballot papers.
Yes,
also from there, it's like the national mint house. It's like a minted money. But I'm sure that there's still a disconnect, as to how we're still able to print currency abroad. But I think it's a standard gauge anywhere. Good, I'll tell you. Now, one of the reasons, in order to be able to avoid the case of counterfeits, you ensure that countries don't be able to domicile everything in one place to avoid that particular. Because don't forget that when you see, I'm sure you have had the word, maybe at parties that, you said, is a minted money, mint money, right? A new money. Yeah. Because some of what gave money that backing, what gave it that strength, is what we call fiduciary, is a government backing. Exactly. So why can't you today, let me just be able to ask, why can't you today take a piece of paper, cut out a piece of paper and write on it 1,000 naira, for example, and then do all those design on it and go out and spend it? Why is that not possible?
It's not possible.
It's not possible. Well, you have done, it's not a paper as just like a normal paper money. The same 1,000 I would have been able to bring out.
It's not the same thing.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, what I'm saying here is, I'm looking at that paper.
Yeah.
Okay, the 1,000 is on the paper, right? Certain things were printed on it. Yeah. Why can't I just be able to get that as well? Cut out that piece of paper. That would be fake. What makes it fake? What makes that one original and this one fake? I did not paper. This is exact. I agree it's fake. I'm just playing devil's advocate. What makes it fake exactly is for you to know that I can't bring it to you now and say, is it not 1,000 that's written on it? Is it not this person, these two people that have been joined on this particular paper and you accept? There is a legal backing. There's a backing to that paper, right? That is giving it that strength. That backing itself is only governments of nations that have that. That's why no other, when it comes to currency, for example, it's exclusively federal government rule. State government cannot print money. Local government can't print money. It is not. Anywhere in the world is a standard. Now, when you now have some of these machines to print it, where it is low, because there is a cost to printing money. Okay, so I know those days when we're
and there is not, so we don't have a cost when we actually print abroad.
No. So what I'm saying, I'm sure that there's definitely going to be a cost. So if you have 5 naira, for example, or let's say 1,000 naira, you expected that the cost of production should actually be less than the intrinsic value on that thing. The value you are looking at 1,000. So there's that. So I'm sure that this is not only exclusive to Nigeria. The idea of but the question is, what proportion of your currency do you print abroad? Because so in economics, because I don't, this is not an economics class, we don't be able to be going into that details. We call it signorage, where you don't domicile the printing of your currency in one location. Because I'm saying NSPMC, I think I've got
NSPMC.
That's what we call NSPMC.
NSPM, yeah.
That's exactly that particular body. I can tell you that the print electoral papers are printed there. We have examination papers, let's say NECO exams, right? They print them. It's like a printing company, the printing powerhouse of the nation. So maybe I don't think that this particular institution is moribund, right?
So from this piece written by Madam Ope, and she said it's just 35% allocated to the NSPM, while 65%
is actually done abroad. Because what I'm saying is, once we want to avoid counterfeiting, because we will not be able to, and that's maybe, thank you mentioned this, that would be analysis today. We want to actually see the cost of actually printing. Let's just be able to take it from 200, 500 and 1,000 naira when you produce it locally and when you produce abroad. Because I'm sure there must be an economic rationale to this, right? Because most of what this thing you're talking about here, there is economic rationale to them. That's what I mean by that. So everywhere in the world is a standard, right? You cannot domicile the printing of a currency in one place. Even American dollars, they will have very Knoxville, for example, in Fort Knoxville in the US, for example, where you see where some of those things are actually being done. They ensure it is decentralized, because centralizing them sometimes, I'm talking about printing the money, centralization of control, but printing it, leaving it in one place, you can actually be able to create security exposure. So I think that. But I think the important story you read as well was the Osun State.
We're actually going to wait for your analysis. I would really like to
Yes, because I know the story broke in the evening yesterday. Don't forget, we're about August 15th, about how many days from now? 10 days, right? Today's August 5, right?
Oh, Osun State?
Osun State.
Right.
I mean, Osun State election is about 15 days. August 15 is the day.
Yeah.
Today is August 5.
It's about 9 days.
9 days away. So sorry. I mean and then we saw the World Press Conference. I believe it's a national press conference, sorry, that the governor of the state and his campaign team, including the director general of Imole campaign, as they call it, came out, and they actually be able to cry, foul that EFCC has placed a no debit order on their account. In fact, I was shocked as well when we saw that. And then that has generated a lot of, ripples, I mean, here and there. Why could that be? 9 days to election. Is this politically motivated? But I would like you to also be able to read what INEC released this morning. That they've been monitoring the account. Sorry, I said INEC, I'm sorry, EFCC. Sorry about that. EFCC released that they've been monitoring these accounts since March 2026. And that recently, in fact, I would say that from a very reliable source said, the state government is paying 20,000 naira. They are debiting people out of the state allocation. Possible, maybe that could be vote buying. Who knows? That's one. Secondly, the accountant general of the state has been invited. There is 11 billion in the state. Remember, it's state allocation to the state for ecological and intervention fund. There are some fraudulent movements in that account, and that is why somebody confirmed to me, but because I've stayed in Osun for a while. Maybe because I also schooled there. I have somebody that actually be able to get it from me. I was saying that, do you know that in the last 1-2 weeks now, there have been 20,000 that have been transferred into people. People are just seeing that. People are just seeing a lot of 20,000 from First Bank. The bank they use is First Bank. And they will say it's on state government empowerment or something. So maybe the opponents, the oppositions as well, saw that as a means of what are they able to play? Yeah. You have access to the state coffers. Is this why you are doing this? I'm sure these are some of the allegations, because sometimes I try to be able to read between the headlines and we see what is actually happening. People have actually jumped on it that, it is the president. But there are some fraudulent movement in that particular. In fact, and of course, I'm sure we will get to a point, we'll talk about that. What NBA restarted that AFC does not have the power. But I think I disagree with NBA. I'm not a lawyer. But Section 75 said EFCC can actually be able to place a garnishee order on an account for 72 hours before they get court order to do that. There is actually a particular section of that particular act that empowered EFCC to play when they noticed fraudulent movement. Just they can do it to individual accounts. They also allow people to do it to state accounts as well. So I'm sure we will be able to get the details of what is actually happening. But if there is actually a very substantive ground, the only concern that I have early this morning was because the first post of EFCC was reshared by Mr. Bayo Onanuga, and I felt like maybe that should have come from him, because he's spokesperson of the nation. And that was the first I first got to that. Before I went back to the tweet of the EFCC, and I look at the timeline of what has actually happened when it comes to, and he said that's not the only state account they have been monitoring. The other state as well, they've actually been monitoring, movement, especially fraudulent movement in those accounts. All
right, let's now move to the Guardian newspaper. What do we have on the big story of the Guardian? The Guardian reads, Adeleke, that's Osun 2026. Adeleke, APC biker over fraud, vote buying plot and intimidation. And that is on page 6. And we have Tinubu Lord's rescue of 308 kidnapped victims, 6 enhanced security, and that's on page 2. The federal government seeks renewed pact with faith leaders as Obi Kwankwaso bag on Onoyekon. And we have 4 oil firms grow profits by 185% in H1 as revenue 85 trillion naira. And reps to sanction in ILDS DG for alleged participation in APC primary. And that is on page 31. Ashore group protest in Abuja, Lagos against hardship insecurity. And that's on page 3. At the top of the Guardian newspaper, we have Oyo APC pushback on Makinde's criticism of Tinubu's economic reform, and that is on page 3. Federal government orders measures to protect health workers nationwide, and that's also on page 3. And finally, on the Guardian newspaper, we have Dangote Refinery cut petrol ex-depot price by 50 naira and diesel by 80 naira. Still, their dedicated option 2026 is what is, you know,
it's the burning issue. I mean, the current conversation, and just like the vote buying plot. I didn't even see Gaja this morning, so I have not seen it. It was only business that was when I was coming. And I'm sure you what you read there as a headline in terms of vote buying plots, right? Intimidation is also there, because I'm sure that it is actually election. Because I think what is characterized our election, as much as we don't want it to be militarized, we don't want it to be riddled with thuggery and intimidations and here and there. The politicians would always have ways of actually, you know, empowering these elements to use them for, to their own benefit and to their own hands. And we've seen that the two major political heavyweights, APC and Accord, you know, Accord is like another political heavyweight, it's not the usual PDP that we know, or the NDC or Labour Party, as used to be the case at the time past. So we've seen that the two of them have actually been at each other's jugular, you know, and then as we're actually, you know, gravitating towards the day itself, I'm talking about August 15, when the election will hold, we've been hearing these back and forth, you know, this bickering. But just we've seen in our Business Day paper today is that important highlight, which is the fact that what's it called? The governor of the state, right, came out and raised that particular important eyebrow that our account has been frozen, a no debit order has been placed on the account by EFCC, and I'm sure I'm telling you, just like I mentioned earlier, it was like reiterate and beat over that again. So I'm sure that this has actually been the back and forth between the two parties, and that we'll actually be able to see there. But at the same time, sure has actually been the escalation of the tension has actually been unbelievable. So I think another thing you read was the petrol price yesterday. Yes. I don't know whether you felt the impact this morning.
Did I feel the impact?
As I was asking. No. When I say feel the impact, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe in terms of transport costs. But let's assume it has increased yesterday. That's what I'm saying, my lady. Let's assume what the announcement yesterday was the fact that there's a 15 naira increase in the price of petrol. What do you think would have happened this morning? That's why I asked. Would have felt the impact, maybe negatively. They started shouting it in your ear that I don't want to see how much petrol is actually selling for. Everybody will like, fine, it will take effect this morning. August 6, it takes effect 12 a.m. this morning. They released it yesterday evening. But what I'm saying here is nobody would have waited till this morning, right? Before it to take effect. I'm just saying.
They still have old stock.
Maybe a whole stock, thank you. Okay, hold stock. But if it has happened yesterday, I'm just assuming, let's say the announcement that came was a 15 naira increase, right? None of them would have told, let us wait till August 6. Everybody would just be able to adjust and so now ex-gantry price, that means if you buy from Dangote directly, is 1,167, and you also be able to reduce the price of diesel as well. So it's about 1,560 naira now to buy diesel out, right? No, I'm talking about petrol to buy out from you know, like you buy from Dangote.
Yes,
1,560 naira for diesel, 1,167 for petrol. 1,500, okay.
1,165 for petrol and 1,570
for diesel. Okay, I think 1,560 something. Sorry. So because and then that's what we'll see. It will start taking effect today. But just like we have actually been handling, and I'm sure you've actually been a very important advocate for that. Let the people breathe. Let people feel the impact. When it goes down like this, that's exactly what I think we should appeal to the people.
15 naira.
Okay. But I'm saying there is, if it has gone over that 15 naira yesterday, everybody would have adjusted. Yes, it has. It has. Most of the price has never gone beyond 1.50 naira. It would that be range 50 naira, 75 naira. No, when it goes up, I'm just saying, okay, look at this comes down 50 naira before then, right? It's just jack it up to 75 naira. So at the time it can come down and go up. But what I'm saying here is the same way. Thank you. Now you also look at the way you trivialize the 50 naira. It's not just 50 naira. Exactly. But if it has gone up yesterday by that 50 naira, they would have increased the transportation price from
no, I don't think that's how it works.
Okay.
I don't think that's how it works. Okay. I think if it had gone up yesterday, today we would have like before
immediately.
No, I don't think it's immediately.
Okay. If it has gone up, I think it has gone up. I'm saying if the pump price has gone up yesterday, I'm telling you, okay, because when I was just somewhere when I was discussing with some people, actually fine, it's in my mosque yesterday in that evening. Okay. And I have some people there that are bus drivers. Okay. I'm just talking about them. You know, I tried to interact with all of them. Yeah. And I was trying to tell them that Baba Disa, I know what you would have done. If it has been the other way yesterday.
Oh, what's his response?
Of course, it's Nigeria now. Of course, you know what people will say. I was just telling him. I was just saying, sorry, I mentioned him, Baba Disa. I know what you would have done. Yeah. If it has gone the other way around. Yeah. I'm sure that for that 15 naira, if it's a 15 naira increase, you'd have increased transport fare by more than 150 or 200 naira or 500 naira. I'm sure that's what they would have. I started laughing. You know, I always started laughing about it. Yes, it might be, but I know what I'm saying, telling him. They said yes. So imagine he has gone to the filling station, immediately he heard that, and they told him, the price has gone up. But that's how would have the same.
All right, let's now move on to the Punch newspaper. The big story on the Punch newspaper this morning reads: NBA faults EFCC as Osun accounts freeze sparks row. Mohammed has talked a bit about this, but the rider to that story reads: opposition accuses federal government of using EFCC to weaken Adeleke 10 days to government poll. Another rider: election timing irrelevant, suspicious transfers forced Osun account freeze, says EFCC as Osun government kicks. And finally, NBA lawyers insist EFCC must obtain court order before freezing government account. At the right corner of the Punch newspaper reads: fake agency probe. Adeyemi rejects closed door reps quiz, and that is on page 9. And WAEC results reveal 38.5% failed 5 key subjects.
38.5, okay, failed, okay.
Yeah, and we also have bus preaching ban threaten religious freedom, and that's from PFN. And at the top of the top corner of the Punch newspaper, we have Tinubu Hills military as 308 Kwara Niger abductees rescued. Let's talk about this bus bridge.
Yeah, of course, I know that's where my lady will start from. Because I know you told me there, don't forget, you told me they are looking for their money. Was that what you used that time? That was last week. Because they're trying to make was it their means of livelihood or something? I know there was a time to use anyway.
But yeah, I think the PFN is in support.
Pentecostal,
Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
Guess, okay.
So
I think those ones are different from Catholics, right?
Yes.
Catholics. Sorry, I don't really know.
You would not really, and this is not me trying to sound what's the word when you don't agree, when his religion is bigotry, but religion bias. Yeah, this is not me being biased, but I don't think you would see any Catholic, a Catholic preaching in the bus. It's usually the Pentecostal. I go to a Pentecostal. It's usually them, and you should know the churches I'm talking about. The ones who pray fire, the ones they are usually the ones who have like a green branding. They are usually the ones who preach in the buses. Yeah, so I think that is why the PFN is actually coming.
Reacting to this now. Okay.
And to be honest, like I said, most of those people, because few times that I get to board buses. You see them after they are done preaching, you're like, drop something for the ministry.
I know, I have heard that, I've seen that. Exactly. I never observed that until you mentioned me 2 weeks ago. And I've seen 2 cases like that.
You have to drop something. I can't preach for you, the boss.
No, it's not. Of course, it's not for you can't force us anyway. I was wondering, is that so now I connected it to what Deborah said. Any wonder? I've never really observed it in that light. You understand? Yeah. Until I've seen 2 cases after we spoke about this. Like, any wonder?
It's money, and they try to.
You say there as well. Give your life to Christ. You also sell those ones.
Yes.
At the end of the day, to allow the ministry
to move for, you need to give them offering.
So that's the purpose, right?
Yes. That really is the purpose. Because
how do you know that people are not going through their own? I just expect them just people to drop money. But sometimes I've seen that too.
See, in a way, religious freedom. I think it's double standard from the PFN, because that's why we have buildings,
Okay,
institutions,
of course, for worship. Okay.
You can't, bring it to the boss. Bringing it to the boss is like bringing it in public.
Of course.
Like I said the other day, I might be going through what I'm
You're
going
not
through,
your
and then you're screaming into my ears, telling me to
in
give
the
my
boss,
life
in a public
to
place
Christ.
like that. That's one.
It's
Or
not done.
imagine you see Alawos, for example, you know, with his own
Exactly.
outfit, chanting
And all of that.
No one's going to quit.
And most times,
Thank you very much.
Most times,
because they also have the right to their how to put what they want to do.
Yes.
So imagine just be able to have that. Next thing you just be able to say is fire, and this was able to bind him or something. And you cannot be able to fault him for what he's doing.
Of course.
So I'm sure, just like you said, nobody wants to enter the bus. So what do you think will be the fate of the bus driver? That is who is actually looking for his own means of livelihood. So I think we should just be tolerant of one another.
Yeah. And there are other things. And besides, I think this is also just giving attention to trivial issues.
Okay.
I think, the big story on Monday, I guess, was about the crackdown on drugs. BusinessDay did a very extensive investigation on production of
fake drugs. Yes. That was on Monday, right?
Yes. Okay. It was a very big one. And myself and Bassi, I was telling Bassi that, now the government is saying, ban preaching. That is totally irrelevant. That is a social issue. It leave it for the people who not fight themselves. I'm paying my money to enter the bus, right? Allow me to deal with whatever it is that I find in the bus, not the government. If bus fare is actually free and the government is sorting it out, then you can then say, okay, no one should preach.
So the question is, I agree. So the question is,
I've never heard.
Okay.
You can quote me wrong.
Okay.
I have never heard that the government has come out to say, those of you that sell drugs in the buses, in the bus stop
as well. I think it's it
was part of the investigation.
No, I think about the laws, these laws around public preaching of public.
But so why do we not have so much attention on it?
Because religion is a social issue. People will always be able to jump. That's not exactly. Thank you very much. People will jump. If you read the provision of that,
people will jump on what
because it's also criminalized now with this new law, this new law that is the new bill. Sorry, it hasn't been finalized here. This public preaching bill. If you look at some of those things there, it also be able to extend.
It should extend.
No, it's also extended. It's extended to selling of just unbranded drugs.
That's what I'm saying. It should be a standalone. There should be. I feel like there are not much attention on it. I know what I'm talking about. Because really, I'm more worried when I actually see people sell drugs inside the buses. If you have this, if you have that. I have somebody almost lost her life for buying something like that, because they are able to convince you that that your ulcer that you have, that it can cure, and you want to give it a try. So because that is the major distribution of this fake drugs. So.
Seriously?
Yes, that is one of the major distributions.
Inside buses,
because that's where you find people
of those days.
Yes, not even those days. They've now transitioned into the normal these big buses,
all those big
go towards Oshodi, the long one, the white ones, those big buses. Yeah,
they this place.
Yes. There are how many people now, me and you, if we fall sick, we know that we have something called HMO
to
fall back on. Now, how many of those people inside the bus can afford? Let me tell you, many of them cannot even afford 5,000 naira to go to the hospital. So if you're selling me a drug of 200 naira and Igbo, that's the first time I heard Igbo, and I was shocked. I just found Igbo last year.
Yes.
It's
like all around
everything.
That should be a red flag. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can
it can be a red flag.
And I can tell you,
if you don't have money, it will not become a red flag. Anything goes. Anyways, let's quickly wrap up with the cartoon of the day, because we're pressed with time. Now, what do we have on the cartoon of the day? We have governor sets a 50,000 fine for people preaching in buses. Exactly what we're talking about. I think these are citizens reading it. Yeah, and one of them said, but why would a governor set a fine for people preaching in buses? Very valid, because bandits don't preach in buses. There's not much to say. This has summarized everything that I'm trying to say. Giving attention to things that you're not supposed to give attention to.
I think government, don't forget, why government is not totalitarian.
Yeah.
All our because the question I'm asking, which I think I agree with you, is the fact that if we don't regulate, if we don't be able to regulate some of these things, if we allow people to be able to do it themselves, we'll degenerate into anarchy. Everything will become lawless. It's just like you said, you enter into the bus, you paid your money from Oshodi, for example, to CMS. Somebody was actually all the way from Oshodi, never allowed. Maybe you over the night you have actually used up, you have prepared script, you are going to work with this money. You don't want to be able to use that period to relax your head before you get to work. And somebody was actually making all the noise from that period.
That's why I said
something is if you don't
it is a social issue.
Don't you think you can get to a situation where both of you can
this has been happening
where let us fight ourselves. What do you mean?
The truth is, if you enter 10 buses, we can do a social experiment. I don't mind. If you enter 10 buses
from
CMS to Oshodi, you will only encounter one person that will preach on the bus.
Now?
That's now. That is it. You will only encounter one person that will preach on the bus.
But, okay, I've only seen it on. But I know these days when I've gone to Oshodi, to Computer Village, I've seen. I know I boarded for my Hags. Don't forget, I stayed on there. I just went to buy one. I want to go and change something about my phone, and I went there. And I remember I took 3 buses. 2 of them released on Saturday, and 2 of them had this.
All right, let's wrap up now. Let's wrap up. Of course, the Business Money Live continues after this break with our conversations. Just stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay.
For 25 years, BusinessDay has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities, At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, BusinessDay now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new BusinessDay website today and experience the future of news.
To the Business Morning live show right here on Business Day Television. Now let's move to our topics of conversation this morning. First up this morning, we are examining reforms in compulsory motor insurance, unlocking Nigeria's untapped market potential. Nigeria's compulsory third-party motor insurance has long been one of the country's most underpenetrated insurance products. Despite being mandatory by law, millions of vehicles remain uninsured or carry fake certificates, leaving accident victims without compensation and reducing confidence in the insurance industry. Recent regulatory reforms aimed at strengthening enforcement, digitizing verification, eliminating fake insurance certificates, and improving claims sentiment are expected to transform the market. But will these reforms increase compliance, protect motorists, and deepen insurance penetration? Or will affordability and weak enforcement remain major obstacles? And joining us to have this conversation is Kolade Awosomi. He's the head of technical International Energy Insurance PLC. Good morning, Mr. Kolade. It's good to have you on the Business Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you're very welcome. Now let's go right into it. Nigeria is witnessing renewed enforcement of several compulsory insurance policy. What do you think is driving this shift, and why is it happening now?
Okay, thank you very much. These are indeed very exciting times for us in the insurance industry because since the passage and signing of NIRA, that's Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025, and we've been envisaging all of these times. And then just recently, the regulator, National Insurance Commission, certified about 43 companies, who are fully recapitalized. So why now? So the enforcement in itself is driven by NIRA, and there are provisions in this act that says that's brought, and what NIRA is that it has brought a lot of disjointed regulations, old acts together into one body, and so all of those compliance things have now come up. The compulsory insurances have been brought up, and the act has strengthened, the legal and regulatory framework, by the regulator. And now recapitalization, as I just mentioned, is also part of it to build stronger companies who will be able to take on a lot of risk. And regulators and state governments, federal governments, they now recognize that compulsory insurance is not just about compliance, but it's a tool to protect lives and businesses and indeed the economy. And that is why there's a renewed enforcement on several fronts.
All right, let's go beyond the motor insurance. Lagos State is now enforcing compulsory insurance for buildings under construction and public buildings. So how significant is this move for the insurance industry and also public safety?
Well, this is awesome. It's a major milestone because it is what insurance industry has been preaching all the while, and it's so heartwarming the state government like Lagos State, is embracing it. Now, building insurance protects a lot of things. So many times we hear of building collapse, especially in Lagos and other places. And thereafter, you hear people calling on the government to come and assist, to come and do this and that. Whereas if there was an insurance in place, it will be the work or the function of that insurance component to actually take up, those fallouts from it. So the building insurance protects the construction itself, the workers, the occupants, and properties around, the public, people that are just going around, they don't know. So it's something that will even save government, expenses that ordinarily should have gone into other places. So this will promote sustainable growth while encouraging higher construction standards. So I think it's a very beautiful and good development.
All right. Despite these laws having to have existed for years, compliance has remained really low. So, has the problem been weak enforcement or low awareness, or do you think it's a lack of confidence in insurers?
So honestly, I would say it's a combination of the three. Previously, we've had weak enforcement, which allowed non-compliance to go unpunished and persisted. We've had so in fact, I can recall as several years ago when I was 7, I don't want to mention the city, it was just fake insurance because I was working at a brokerage, and even then the broker was colluding with companies has gone on. But NIRA has come to address all of these challenges through stronger enforcement, digital verification. You can verify your insurance even as you are buying it on NID. There's a platform we have. And then there's improved consumer protection advocacy by the new acts. And then there's stricter, sanctions for offenders. So all of this is going to make it change. There's going to be a lot of change. It's not going to be business as usual.
So fake motor insurance certificates have been a persistent issue. Similar compliance challenges evident in other compulsory insurance products, particularly in the construction sector.
Oh, definitely, yes. We have a lot of people bringing up different kind of phony insurances. Motor insurance is most visible because that's the highest business area we have. But we have similar issues, we have other policies in insurance like contractors' liability, where contractors are supposed to, by law, to get an insurance in place and display it, and people find ways around it. Now, what we have now done that is changing that is there is an end-to-end verification, digital verification, whereby all you need is to put in the policy number, and it checks whether it is genuine or fake. So we're having stronger collaborations across board with regulators, with the state authorities, with building authorities, so that we can have this in place and they can verify easily. And of course, there must be a penalty for offenders.
So what economic benefits could Nigeria unlock if compliance with all compulsory insurance policy improves significantly?
Well, I will say a lot, because part of the reform that is embedded in NIRA 2025 is to see how insurance would support the $1 trillion economy of the federal government. And so improved compliance will deepen insurance penetration, one, because people will feel insurance. They will know that, okay, claims are paid. They will attract investment. When you know that when there's a claim or when there's a loss, your business is down and insurance comes, then it will attract investments. It will create jobs. It will strengthen the financial stability of companies. You don't have to dip into company accounts to make good any loss. Why? Because you have insurance. And then this will reduce the economic impact, of disasters. As I said earlier, it is faster for individuals, for companies to get compensation when they have insurance than to wait on government, who have limited resources to come and be helping you to resolve some of those things. And then government in itself will have better resources or more resources, to spend on infrastructure and development, as it were.
Mm. So for developers and also property owners, what exactly does compulsory building insurance cover, and how does it protect the workers, the occupants, also neighboring properties, and extending to the investors?
Okay, so insurance is beautiful, so it provides a rest of mind. It's like providing succor to everybody within that space, because what it covers is essentially risk of building collapse, which I've mentioned, it happens every time. Fire, third-party liabilities. Third-party liabilities are things that, if you come to the island, you will see a lot of high-rise constructions. If something falls from any of those buildings and lands onto an existing property, damages it, insurance will cover it. It is essential. If it does fall on any person, or property of any person, it also covers. So it protects adjoining properties. It compensates for injuries to workers, to persons that passers by. So this safeguards developers, from liabilities. Ordinarily, if your construction injures or you find yourself in that, it will be the developer that will be going to court, for example, or be seen to making sure that that person is compensated. But when you have insurance in place, it covers all of this. And this is also reassures investors and lenders. And that is why you see sometimes, in fact, most times, every time, when people use properties as collateral, banks request that they also have an insurance, because they know that insurance will protect, that property. If anything should go wrong with it, maybe fire or something, their money will not be lost. So this also, permeates into the area of developers and the likes. So it promotes essentially safe construction practices.
Right. Some businesses, they argue that compulsory insurance add to the cost of doing business. So explain to us, how do you balance those concerns with the need to protect lives, assets, and the economy?
Okay, so yes, I've been in this business. I've heard those concerns, in the past. But the thing is, we should all have, there's a general saying, penny wise, pound foolish. We should have an investment mind. What insurance should be viewed as is as an investment in business continuity rather than additional cost. It is not a cost per se. It is something that will help you when there is a major financial consequences and you need, to cover it. So we need to have a rethink, because insurance, what it does, it preserves jobs, safeguards investments, and support long-term economic growth. So it's important to have a rethink or change our mindsets that insurance is not an additional cost. Yes, you have to pay a little bit more, to get a lot more protection.
Let's take it to technology now. What role do you think technology and digital verification systems play in having to improve compliance, also reducing fraud, and ensuring that genuine insurance coverage, is across the sector?
Fantastic. So again, I will go back to NERA and our recapitalization. What that has done, because across board, we have, for those that scale through, it means we have a lot more money, to invest into the business. And a lot of that is going to go into technology, because that is where the world is moving. That is where we make, all of this. Technology is a game changer, So what we've been doing now, and we'll continue to do, and I'm sure we're going to deploy more resources into it, is digital policy issuance. You get if in fact what we're trying to do is everybody can do a seamless interaction with our various organizations, insurance organizations. You can sit in on your desk, you can sit in your house and start and conclude an insurance transaction real time. And then you can verify it. The policy number I give to you, you will be taken to a site which should tell you whether it is genuine or not. The same thing, claims handling. You have a claim, you process, take your picture, pass it into the normal system, and it goes. So all of this is coming up. There's enforcement. We do a lot of AI assisted, investigation in terms of claims, and then so many things. Because at the end of the day, what we want to do is to give our consumer satisfaction and tell them that the insurance is there for them. So we're going to be deploying a lot of technology, and it's really going to help, just to answer your question.
And, you can agree with me that Nigeria insurance penetration, it remains among the lowest in Africa. Now, could stricter enforcement of compulsory insurance become the catalyst that finally expands the industry contribution to the GDP?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that consistent enforcement, backed by NIRA, and honestly, part of what has been done by our regulator, National Insurance Commission, is to collaborate with various agencies, the Nigerian Police, Federal Road Safety Corps, because for vehicles are mostly, and now of course you mentioned the Lagos State Initiative, and we're having discussions, across all this government to make sure that enforcement really one of the things, and I try to always explain that away. Our society is evolving. We tend to always compare ourselves with developed countries, but they've come a very long way. Some of them are over 200 years old, so they've been practicing this thing, so it became a part of them. But for us that are just starting, I think starting with enforcement, until it becomes a part of us. And so we have bigger companies now, they can take up a lot of larger risks. So this will significantly increase, policy that is being taken by people. It will expand premium income. It will improve risk protection across, the economy, and then people will have a better feel. Of course, Nigerians' GDP and financial inclusion will be there, because one of the things, as we spoke to technology just now, is that we're going to deploy a lot of things that will include a lot of people. You can just on your phone, it doesn't have to be an Android or anything, just by short codes get insurance. So we're going to do a lot of that, of course, but consistent enforcement is very important to take us where we're going.
So looking ahead, what more should regulators, the insurers, state government, and also the private sector do to ensure compulsory insurance becomes a tool for economic resilience rather than just another regulatory requirement that just comes and that's it?
Yes, it's just what I alluded to just now, is we have to sustain this collaboration with all agencies of government. And it's honestly, it is just starting from enforcement. When we enforce and people begin to see the benefits of insurance, and then this can be sustained. So we need to sustain collaboration, regulators with all other stakeholders, with the police, road safety, building, every other aspect, even house owners. If you are a landlord, you are taking a tenant, you can include insurance and embed it into your fee so that the house and their property is so we need to do this, collaborate more with every agency, every private, public sector to take us to where we want to. And then of course public education will remain essential. We'll continue to do this, having these conversations to make sure that people, understand the benefits of insurance.
Well, finally, before I let you go, if these reforms are sustained over the next 5 years, what do you think success would look like? Higher insurance penetration? Are we going to be seeing safer roads and buildings? or stronger investment? And again, what milestones should Nigeria be watching out for?
Absolutely, all of what we have discussed. Success is all of what we have been saying. You know, we have bigger companies on one hand, insurance company. We have customers that are satisfied on the other hand. It means people who want to take on more insurance. That's penetration. You mentioned our penetration rate just now. So if we have all of this in place and people are seeing that insurance is paying, the claims are being paid, we will make more people to go to insurance, and that's penetration will reach more people. We will build confidence, of the public. Of course, it will give us safer roads because you know that when there's an accident, when there's an injury, sometimes just this week on the Third Mainland Bridge, I saw people, they had an accident and they were having fisticuffs. You can't be having that in a civilized society. All of what you need to do is just exchange, your insurance cards. This is your insurer, this is my insurer. And it takes it away. We don't have to. So all of it, that's just scaling it down. But or it will reduce uninsured losses. There are so many losses, floods, the rains and all of that. If your building is insured fire and you have a special risk that covers flood, it takes care of it. So it helps you to use your capital better. That will bring investment to your business. It's going to, that's investor confidence. And then ultimately, it will become an integral part of our economy, and the insurance will begin to do what is expected of it, building resilience, of the economy against any shock. We are very lucky in these climes that we don't have the tsunamis and all these natural disasters, but we still have flood and some other things, which naturally insurance, will take care of. And this will help us so that governments, instead of looking for ways to ameliorate and help people, focus more on development, and then insurance will be contributing meaningfully to our national GDP.
Thank you so much for your time on the show, Kolade Awosami. It was really good to have you.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
All right, we'll be speaking to Kolade Awosami. He's the head of Technical International Energy Insurance PLC. And still to come after the break, we're going to be looking at Nigeria's fake drug market. It thrives despite 1.1 trillion naira seizures. To stay with us.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
Every legacy has a beginning. Ours evolved. Built on trust and carried forward as a second-generation family legacy, Bemio has grown into Nigeria's largest cash-in-transit provider, trusted where precision and reliability matter most. But we are more than movement. We deliver protection at every level, from professional guarding to journey management to concierge services. And through Bemio Polo, we reflect the identity, heritage, and standards we uphold. This is modern service. This is a legacy in motion. Bemio, your partner to safer living.
At Providus Bank, we're committed to your growth and success. You're never alone on the journey. Our personalized relationship banking is how we do things together. It's what sets us apart. We value every individual and partnership and treat them as such. We're committed to helping you grow and celebrating your success. This is your life story, your future, your forward. This is all about you. Let's move you forward. Providus Bank.
Global oil prices fell sharply after US President Donald Trump paused plans for a military strike on Iran and signaled a return to diplomatic talks, easing concerns over potential supply disruption through the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude dropped about 7%, while Nigerian crude also declined after previously trading above $85 per barrel. The drop in oil prices comes as fears of supply shortage ease, following reports that the US and Iran are set to resume negotiation. A reopening of the Strait of Hormuz could improve global crude supply and reduce pressure on international oil markets. For Nigeria, lower crude prices present a mixed picture. While oil remains the country's biggest source of government revenue and foreign exchange earnings, meaning lower prices could reduce public revenue and put pressure on foreign exchange reserve, consumers may benefit. Cheaper crude could lower refinery costs for the Dangote refinery and reduce landing costs for fuel importers, potentially leading to lower petroleum prices, reduced transport costs, and easing inflationary pressures. Analysts say if diplomatic efforts continue and global supplies improves, oil markets could shift from fear of shortage to concerns over oversupply, especially as production increases from non-OPEC countries and OPEC Plus gradually unwinds production cuts. As global markets continue to monitor developments between the United States and Iran, investors and policymakers alike will be watching closely to see whether easing geopolitical tension translates into sustained lower oil prices and relief consumers, while Nigeria balances the impact of weaker crude oil revenues against the potential benefits of low fuel costs.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insights into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Balata.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Musef.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by Business Day Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shred of doubt.
For 25 years, Business Day has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, Business Day now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new Business Day website today and experience the future of news.
You're still watching Business Morning Live. Let's now move to our second conversation this morning. Despite intensified efforts by NAFDAC, counterfeit medicines remain a major threat in Nigeria. The agency says it assists fake, expired, and substandard drugs worth over 1.1 trillion naira. Yet, these products continue to find their way into markets and ultimately into the hands of unsuspecting consumers. Beyond the obvious health risk, fake drugs also undermine confidence in the healthcare system, hurt legitimate pharmaceutical businesses, and expose weaknesses in the country's medicine distribution network. So, why are counterfeit medicines still so prevalent despite repeated crackdowns? Is enforcement enough, or are deeper reforms needed? Joining us to discuss the scale of the problem is the impact on public health and the solution that could help protect Nigerians is Busola Bade-Beshin. She's a pharmacist. Good morning, Busola. It's good to have you on the Business Morning Live.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, thank you for your time. Now, NAFDAC assess, for my intro, I analyzed the NAFDAC assess fake drugs worth over 1.1 trillion naira, but yet the market continues to operate. What does this tell us about the scale and the structure of Nigeria's counterfeit drug problem?
Okay. This is counterfeit medications and substandard medicines over 1.1 trillion demonstrates that the Nigerian's fake drug trade is not just a small scale business. It's not just, it is highly organized and profitable network. It involves a lot of supply chains. It's not just a small business that is just happening somewhere. It's a highly organized and profitable network here, like illegal manufacturing and distribution channels, and which reach open drugs markets. Because when getting medications, we are not even getting it at the right source. Informal vendors that are not licensed, and sometimes even legitimate outlets, and the large value of these medications suggests that the enforcement efforts are making progress. Yes, we know they are making progress, but they also reveal the enormous size and the resilience of the counterfeit medicine market, which needs to be dealt with seriously.
So explain to us why this fake drug markets keep resurfacing in the same location despite, the repeated raids and arrests. Do you think it's a regulatory failure or an economic problem, or do you think it's a combination of both?
It is a combination of both, seriously. It's a combination of both, because on the regulatory side, inconsistent enforcement, we're enforcing today and tomorrow there's a setback, and weak prosecution and corruption and inadequate surveillance too, and allow illegal vendors to operate. Because even when there's a raid today, there's a raid going on today. Before in the next 2 or 3 months, you are also hearing that those people are still, selling same things over in the same environment. Economically and, high on unemployment, poverty, and the demand of cheaper medicines, actually encourage these sellers and buyers too, because it is cheaper to participate in the informal markets.
All right, let's get a pharmacist's point of view. That's from your point of view. How dangerous are counterfeit and substandard medicines to patients? Can they actually worsen illness or contribute to antimicrobial resistance?
Yes, they can worsen illness. Counterfeit medicines pose a serious threat to patient safety. They may contain even enough ingredients or over excess of the ingredients, or too much, or also harmful contaminants that are even not safe for our health. As a result, patient may experience treatment failure. You keep taking same medication, you keep asking yourself, why is this not working, what is happening? You keep treating, and which is also causing resistance too. So a substandard antibiotics are a major contributor to the antimicrobial resistance because of the bacteria exposed to inadequate drug concentrations, so which is likely to develop resistance and making infections increasingly difficult for you to cure.
Yeah, let's speak to the Nigerians that buy medicine from open markets because they are cheaper and more accessible. Of course, we understand the poverty rate in Nigeria. So how do you think we can balance affordability with patient safety, being able to afford to buy drugs and also being able to ensure that the patient is safe after using the drugs?
So the solution is not simply to make medicines both expensive or to make it genuine medicines. It's not to make it affordable and accessible. But this can be achieved by, strengthening the regulated community pharmacies nationwide. Expanding the health insurance coverage and, getting your medications at a licensed pharmacy, reducing import costs also, and also improving local pharmaceutical and, manufacturing, and also ensure efficient medicine distribution. Yeah.
Right. So
in rural areas also, yeah.
Yeah. How do you think consumers can identify genuine medicine? Because what simple checks should every Nigerian carry out before having to purchase any medication or having to take any medication?
Okay, so the number one thing I would advise is to buy your medicines from a licensed pharmacist. A licensed pharmacist only hand accredited medicine vendors. Check their products is registered by the appropriate regulatory authority. And also we have some, seals and where you can just confirm. You can get some medications and you notice that there's some scratch or it's damaged. You should not get such medications. Or maybe the batch number is not there or the expiry date is not there. You should not get such medications and avoid any medicines sold loose and that is not proper, that it's not packaged very well. That even from giving it to you, you can actually confirm that, oh, this is not genuine. So please, so the solution is to get your medicines at a licensed pharmacist.
So do you think one of the solutions is for Nigeria to completely phase out open drug market and move into a regulated pharmaceutical distribution system? Or do you think that will create a new challenge, and that's the access problem? Do you think it will be difficult for Nigerians to be able to access these drugs once this is put in place?
I think gradually the transition should happen gradually to a fully, regulated pharmaceutical distribution system. But the transition must be carefully managed. It's not something we just, it has to be carefully managed. And also closing open markets without adequate alternatives, it can actually reduce access to medicines, especially in undeserved areas like rural areas. Reform should also include expanding licensed pharmacies, not just having them in urban areas, and it should also, we should also have them in rural areas, and strengthen also wholesale distribution centers also.
All right, so let's move to technology now. I like to impute technology in every sector, in the country. So we understand how it's being used to fight counterfeits, right? But how effective are the QR codes, the scratch and verify system, and also digital supply chain? How effective is it in having to track and protect consumers? Because from the analysis that was made, consumers actually said that, even with the scratch to know if this is an original drug, it usually doesn't work. Sometimes you find that you are buying counterfeit, even with the fact that, they ask you to scratch to see if it's original. So how do you think it is playing a role? Do you think it is actually playing a role, or it is just a way to cover up tracking and having to protect consumers?
Okay, so as somebody who has an history in clinical pharmacy and also supply chain professionals, so this scratch and verify system and the QR codes allow consumers to authenticate their product before use. So we've seen a lot of medicines actually now, compared to like 5 or 10 years ago, we have more medications with QR codes where you can, scan and confirm. You won't even there are some you just have to fill a short form to get the message on your phone to confirm, the authenticity of the medication you're buying. So why digital supply chain tracking improves transparency and helps regulators trace medicines throughout the distribution chain. However, technology alone cannot eliminate counterfeit medicines. Success also depends on, strong enforcement, through the manufacturers enforcing that majority of their medications should come with a scan, a scratch and verify systems or QR codes. Success does not depends on just the strong enforcing the law every time. Industry cooperation is very, very important too, and public awareness, because a lot of people see the scratch and they don't even know what it is or how to use it, and and also widespread adoption by manufacturers and also distributors. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that the pharmacists, they have a very huge role to play when it comes to having to distribute or dispense medicine. So what role do you think, they should play beyond the primary duty of having to dispense medicine? Do you think community pharmacists should become the first in line of defense against fake drugs?
Yeah, sure, you're right. Community pharmacies they are positioned, to source medicines only from licensed suppliers and, also dictate any suspicious or counterfeit products. They also educate patients when patients come to them, whether at the clinical pharmacy or the community pharmacy, they educate patients about the, medicine safeties and also reduce suspected counterfeit medicines to regulators.
All right, so let's move beyond NAFDAC now. Who else do you think should step up? What responsibilities should the manufacturers, the wholesalers, and also healthcare professionals, down to even security agencies and the consumer, what would you think each take in having to tackle this crisis of fake drugs?
Okay, so addressing counterfeit medicines requires collaborations and, across multiple stakeholders, like, manufacturers, like I said earlier, and wholesalers and distributors. So for the manufacturers is to strengthen their product, security features and, maintain quality assurance checks every time and, also secure their distribution channels. And why for wholesalers and distributors, purchase only from authorized sources and maintain a full supply chain, traceability, even if there's an error where it's being traced and can be recalled. And also for, security agency and for government to strengthen our legislations and improve regulatory capacity and also support local pharmaceutical manufacturers.
So if nothing changes over the next 5 years, what could be the economic and public health consequences for Nigeria? And also, what are the 3 most urgent reforms you believe should happen now?
Okay, so if the problem continues unchecked, and the thing is, Nigeria could experience, rising antimicrobial resistance, which you have more of it now, and also greater healthcare costs for families and governments, and also financial losses for legitimate pharmaceuticals manufacturers and pharmacies.
Right. So finally, Bisola, before I let you go, counterfeit medicine, they don't just cost lives. They also undermine the confidence in the Nigeria healthcare system, and they hurt legitimate pharmaceutical businesses, because in as much as we have tons of fake, drug out there, there are also legitimate pharmaceutical industries that actually produce legitimate drugs. So how significant is the economic cost of fake drugs, and why should every Nigerian see this as more than just an health issue?
So every Nigerian should view counterfeit medicines as a both health and economic issue. It's not just health issue, and it's also affect the economic issue, because the consequences affect everyone, not just me, not just you. It affects everyone, whether through higher healthcare costs, reduced workforce or productivity, and microbial resistance, all lose of trust in healthcare services. Counterfeit medicines undermine national development. Combating fake drugs is of not only a public health priority, it's not just for public health educators' priority, but also an economic and national security imperative. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time on the show, Badeshin Bisola. It was really good to have you.
Thank you so much.
All right, the morning show still continues. The Business Morning Live show continues after this break, and we are going to be analyzing the Almajiri education system after this break. Just stay with us.
Nigeria, a land of boundless energy, driven by the pulse of over 200 million dreams. At the heart of this momentum stands a giant, Seplat Energy, an indigenous powerhouse accounting for a vital share of Nigeria's oil and gas output, propelled by the historic acquisition milestone with the acquisition of ExxonMobil's onshore and shallow water assets, significantly expanding its production capacity and marking its entry into offshore operations. We are the engine of prosperity, Nigeria's leading domestic gas supplier with a total gas production output of 2.7 billion cubic feet, and the landmark Ano gas project delivering first gas. We have elevated our total processed gas output to 855 million standard cubic feet per day onshore. Indeed, we have brought domestic gas utilization to new heights, powering industries and securing energy for millions. But we are not just growing production, we're growing responsibly. By ending routine flares, we are decarbonizing our operations today to protect the Nigeria of tomorrow. Our reach is expanding. From offshore gas distribution to the growth of CNG for transport and industry, we are deepening our presence across the entire value chain. Our impact reaches the grassroots. Through innovative mini-grid projects, we are bringing clean, reliable energy to local communities, fueling economic empowerment where it's needed most. We are more than an energy company. We are a partner in progress, a leader in the energy transition, a giant rooted in Nigeria, for Nigeria. Seplat Energy, leading Nigeria's energy transition, powering the future.
This is still the Business Day CEO Forum, the 14th annual edition, and I'm still speaking to the CEOs, business leaders in the room, and it's been a very insightful conversation so far. Right now, I have the partner tax at KPMG, Mr. Dayo Adeniji. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
I'm going to start by asking what some of the key insights and takeaways you've gotten from this event. I mean, you've been here for the entire day, so just share with me some of the things that we must learn.
Well, some of the key insights for me have been around ensuring that we have shared prosperity. There needs to be growth. We have to grow. There are a lot of reforms that, we've been going through a lot of reforms in the country, and those reforms are with a view to ensuring that we have a bigger economy, which will then ensure that we have shared prosperity. But that cannot happen unless we're a productive economy. For us to have a productive economy, a lot of things must happen, and those are some of the things that we've been discussing around things around logistics, energy issues. There was a session on energy. The session that I also moderated, there was talks around energy and some of the issues with infrastructure. So for me, it's that the goals that have been set out to be achieved can be achieved, but a lot needs to happen.
My final question, because we have to hit the home run. My final question will be: if you were to come back here in 2027, what's one thing that you hope would have changed, in the 12 months?
Well, for me, I hope that we would have more stable energy for a lot of companies that are involved in manufacturing and production. Energy is one of the main issues that they face. In fact, the MD of NASCON did mention that the cost of energy takes a huge chunk of their cost of production. So if there's a way, hopefully, if that can be moderated or if that can be managed, I think that would be huge. I think the other thing also is around the currency. I know there's a lot of stability with currency, but if the currency achieves a bit more value, perhaps some of the things that we import, which enables us to produce, will be a bit cheaper. So I think for me, those are the two main things that I would look out for.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
We're still here at the Business Day CEO Forum, the 14th edition, and I'm still speaking to our leaders here in the hall, and I'm speaking now with the DG CEO of the Miriam Babangida National Center for Women Development, Dr. Adedayo Benjamin Lani. It's good to have you seated here with us today.
Great to be here.
Thank you so much for honoring our invite. So let's talk about the theme for this year's event, which is from stability to shared prosperity. I'm very curious to know what shared prosperity, or moving from stability to shared prosperity, what it means for you.
It's the assignment in terms of the Women O'Clock reference of the Honorable Minister Iman Suleiman Ibrahim FSI, that it is now time for that socio-economic TikTok representation of women in the pipeline and intersection of repurposing gross domestic product from just being an economic index to be a community impact index through the development that investing in women and a woman bring to community. We have 774 communities. That is 774 local government areas with our mothers, our Iyalakaras, the Kosei sellers, the entire informal economy, which during the KPMG presentation clearly indicated that 80.7% is women of that GDP. And that labor market, as well as the reference gender in this, is not about a women's agenda. It is about shared prosperity. For me, the excitement as the DG CEO for the Mariam Babangida National Center for Women's and National Development is about centering women at the center, women at the pivot of national development, not just as recipients of grants, beneficiaries of some palliatives, but as leaders redirecting the focus as well as the very strategically designed impact of prosperity from the place of stability, like we heard the Honorable Minister say, in terms of repurposing the workforce to those of employable reference and representation, the greater number being women, and the adolescent girl child scaling through their foremost graduating positions these days in Nigerian universities. A lot of the top performing graduates are girls. And we're finding that this, however, does bring us to a place where we have to redirect our investment in the boy child. So it's not just about the girl child. I'm just saying that because even as the CEO for women, I'm a CEO for raising a generation as a woman who's mothering nations through the pipeline of her political activation and appointation. So for me, it's a whole vista of opportunity. From stability to shared prosperity is actually economic language. But the truth of the matter, what it is the fact that shared prosperity is 774 communities. I served as the pioneer mandate secretary for women, that's Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs of the Federal Capital Territory, for 2 years and 6 months. It was from that position that I was promoted and elevated to this position as DG. And what that gave me was access to a profiling of how communities are the pivot of economies. And through women, you have the pipeline for development. Again, I say, a woman's agenda is not about gender. It is about development. It is about leadership. It is about policy governance, implementation, operationalization. It's not just about, stop gender-based violence, but much more than that. When you understand that period poverty is poverty, when you understand that water and sanitation health, poverty is poverty, and that the most implicated in this is always the woman, the girl child, the person with these vulnerable communities. Communities are vulnerable because women have not been empowered and given that equitable status of economic representation and training. I always say, if you don't train them, don't blame them. So it's much more than being a member of an adajo where at the traditional cultural baseline community, women gather money together and use it over an annual reference of their being in the cluster. It's more about financial training, literacy training, those monetary principles in basics that teach you how to make money, earn money, save money, invest money, and then have money built up as legacy, invested as legacy, not just for you and your family, your children, but for community. So that way, the shared prosperity is legacy. It's shared legacy. So from being, if you become the mother of Africa, where did you start from? You were a baby girl. You were a girl child. You've come through different experiences. And I say, every woman in Africa understands she's got to package her market and market her package if she's really going to catch the market. So the reality, therefore, for me and the excitement of this conference is, as a CEO, just as we're challenged by the Honorable Minister of Finance, is we are co-authors, co-creators,
absolutely,
co-laborers,
to the Business Morning Live Show, and our final conversation this morning, we're going to be reviewing the Almajiri system. And we know that the Almajiri system is one of Nigeria's oldest educational traditions, predating colonial rule and serving for centuries as a respected role or model of Islamic scholarship. However, modern realities have transformed the system into one associated with mass child poverty, street begging, educational exclusion, and, in some cases, security concerns. Successive governments have responded with policy interventions, from the Universal Basic Education Framework to the establishment of Almajiri model schools, but many of these reforms have failed to produce lasting outcomes. Today, Nigeria still grapples with millions of out-of-school children, raising difficult questions about governance, federalism, cultural identity, and the constitutional right to education. As policymakers revisit education reforms, one critical question emerges: can Nigeria modernize the Almajiri system without eroding its religious and cultural foundations? And joining us to examine these issues is Professor Duro Oni. He's a distinguished scholar and educationist and cultural leader. Good morning, Prof. It's good to have you on Business Morning Live.
Good morning. How are you today?
Of course, I'm very
glad
well.
to be here.
Very well. Thank you very much. Now, Professor, do you think Nigeria has fundamentally misunderstood the Almajiri institution by having to treat it as an education problem rather than, a governance and social contract failure?
Well, the Almajiri system has been there for centuries. Although it is mainly northern Nigeria based, but even within the southern Nigeria, they have the Quranic schools that young children are sent to, but these are merged with the regular education system. But what we seem to have now is that those who are attending the Almajiri schools are not being integrated within the formal education system, and that is where the problems are. And I think this is something that the federal government is trying to address with the Commission for Almajiri and out-of-school children. And this is something that I believe that is very important for them to do.
All right, the Constitution guarantees every Nigerian child a right to education. Can the continued existence of millions of Almajiri children outside the formal system be interpreted as a constitutional failure of the Nigerian state?
Well, when you say a failure, I mean, we are all involved in this. The thing is, when sometimes there is insecurity, the insecurity itself would also endanger or engender certain other aspects of things that would come up. So what we have is that you've got the Almajiri system. When you even talk about the population of Nigeria and you talk about the youthful population, but that youthful population must be population that is useful, apart from being youthful. So if you have a group of kids that are only roaming the streets and they are not part of what is going on in Nigeria, then we have a problem. And that problem, I believe, is something that the government is trying to tackle.
So we know that the government policies have largely focused on infrastructure, and that what I mean by that is having to build Almajiri schools. Now, do you think the policy instead should focus on having to redesign the institution itself, its incentives and also its governance structure?
Yes, of course, I think that's very important. It's not just building schools for them. Of course, you can build schools for them, but you must provide for them. Because when people cannot really feed, and then you are sending them to some place to learn, it's problematic. So there's a need to have these structures built, but there's also a need to cater for them. And what I see now within the system, the Almajiri system, I think apart from having some basic education, they must also learn and be taught some skills. Because when you have people roaming around in urban centers, your car stops at a street light, you know, and they knock on the window or they want to clean your windscreen, you know, I mean, that's not a life. And let me also say that it's not only the Almajiri system now that we should be talking about, because even in urban centers like Lagos, which is where I am based, in the evenings you get down on the Third Mainland Bridge and driving on Aban Macaulay, and you have young girls, even from the southeast of Nigeria. They are selling fruits, they are selling things, and you can see that they, you know, where do they go to after selling these things? Who is engaging them? Who is making little kids start making a life on the streets? I mean, there is a need for the government to also look into those aspects, and I think it's a. I mean, of course, when there was a lot of problems in the southeast, and people, you know, tended to run away from there, you know, it brought in other challenges, and that is part of what we are seeing now. So you are looking at Almajiri children up north. You are also looking at children from the southeast and some even from the southwest selling things on the roads and just waiting and waiting for things to happen. Thank you.
All right, let's go historically now. The Almajiri system was sustained by, you know, thriving communities and traditional institutions. What broke that ecosystem? And do you think it, you know, realistically be rebuilt in today's urban cash-driven economy?
Well, there's a need to provide for every Nigerian, and that is really where the issue is. Historically, the Almajiri system happened pre-colonial times. When the white men came, they didn't quite fit the Almajiri system into their own system of education, and they didn't try to blend them. So they left, you know, the teachers of the Almajiris all on their own, and most of them moved from the villages where they would normally have their students around them. They moved into the city centers, and the children followed them. Since the children didn't have parents in the cities and all of that, they would go and learn some Quranic verses and then leave the place and then start begging. Of course, it is assumed that it is the malams and the teachers that have sent them, but that's not necessarily the case. Because these are kids now. If you look at Yaba, that, you know, even in the evenings, you see a lot of kids that just gathered around street corners and all of that and trying to feed. One even wonders who is providing the food for them to feed, and that's really a problem that I think the government is trying to tackle. We must find a way of bringing all these children together. I know that there have been attempts of loading them in buses and trucks and sending them up north, but that doesn't solve the problem. They would always find their way back unless there is something that they can look at and something that they can be sustained by.
So, Prof, do you believe that Nigeria's education policy has been too centralized, you know, to just effectively address the Almajiri phenomenon, which is deeply local, cultural, and religious? Do you think, you know, it's from the education policy itself?
No, I think the education policy itself is fine because essentially we have education on the concurrent list. You've got the federal government taking care of certain aspects. You've got the state governments taking care of certain aspects, and you also have the local governments. But there's a need for a synergy for some of these things to materialize, for some of these things to be properly harnessed. And that is where the problem is. And now, you know, you have local governments getting so much money, and then you wonder what and where the money is going to. How are they providing Why should we have out of school children in Nigeria when there's so much? You know, so I think there are of course policy issues here and there, but the three tiers of government must meet, sit together, and find a way that we can address these issues. And I think this is part of what the federal government is trying to do with these Almajiri schools and out-of-school children, because the other aspect of the out-of-school children covers beyond the Almajiri school system.
Right. You know, going through some, you know, scholars, they argue that the Almajiri system only produces social capital, while some have actually criticized it, but they say that it produces intergenerational poverty. Do you think it's possible for both perspectives to be true? And how do you think, you know, how should policy reconcile the both?
Well, we must address all of these issues holistically. Of course, if people are not properly trained, are not found, then they become liabilities in the society. They start wandering all over the place. So there is a need for the three arms of government to synergize and see how these issues can be properly addressed. And I believe that is where we have some of the challenges. I hope that with what the plans are with the Almajiri system, that they should, of course, put these kids in school. If you cannot read or write in this century, then you are being left behind. But apart from reading and writing, it is also a good idea to have some skills. And those skills should be taught, and those kids are provided for. What is currently going on at the federal training centers that the Nigerian government is doing is very commendable. And I think there's a need to be able to fit in some of these Almajiri children and the out-of-school children after their basic numeracy and literacy level to be able to go into some of these federal training centers and be able to learn skills and become useful to the society.
All right, so with Nigeria having to pursue demographic growth as an economic advantage, are we underestimating the long-term economic cost of, you know, failing to properly educate and skill millions of Almajiri children?
Yes, we certainly are. Because when we say that this 60% of the Nigerian population is under 15 or under 16, and you have over 10 million children that are not going to school, then that is a problem. So those demographics, you just say, I mean, if you are looking at the world and they are talking about the youthful population, it's not people that are running around in the streets, not kids that should be going to school that are selling bananas and oranges on the street. That's not going to help us. And now, if you know, even I understand that part of the training that is programmed for these children is digital skills. Of course, digital skills are important, but kids that cannot even read or write, how do they now go into digital skills? So we should take it slowly. We should take it one step at a time and be able to put these kids into a useful demographic that all of us can, you know, of course, there are plenty of schools in Nigeria. Schools have been in Nigeria for almost 200 years and stuff like that. But there is a need to be able to harness, you know, these young people and put them through some training and some school program.
So let's talk about what extent the politics, you know, play in this. Do you think that rather than evidence-based policy making, do you think it has shaped Nigeria's approach to Almajiri education, or do you think the government are more interested in symbolic interventions rather than measurable outcomes?
If this becomes symbolic, it will be really a shame. Because some people are of the view that in some aspects or some areas in the north that the politicians, are keeping these kids uneducated so that they can use them at any point that they want to. They can use them to create mayhem. They can use them to say, look, all right, all of you come and line up and get 200 naira, collect your voters' cards, and then we'll be able to count your votes. But that's not going to be helpful to society. You can't have people that cannot think on their own, that cannot take their decisions. So maybe there is some element of truth in respect of these issues relating to how these kids are trained. I recall that the Emir of Kano once said that there is nothing in the Quran that said that you should send children out to go and beg for food, beg for money, to come and feed the malam. No, he said there is nothing like that. So really there is a need for some political will, of the northern elites to find a solution also and complement the area of the federal government. The same thing that as we hear some good news coming from the southeast, OT, the former governor, Soludo, and all of them, Akwa Ibom State, the governors are doing great. But they must come also and take off some of these kids from the streets in urban areas. Because the kids are just roaming around. Some of them, girls. How do you leave girls on the streets at night, 10 p.m. in the traffic, selling oranges and bananas? Everything that they are selling is probably worth 500 naira, 1,000 naira or something. I think this is a problem that the government and all the subnationals should also tackle to see how we can really address these issues. Thank you.
Right. I want to go personal now, Prof. If you were chairing a presidential committee on Almajiri education, tell us what radical recommendation you would make, one that may be politically unpopular, but is essential for Nigeria's future.
Well, let me say that I grew up in the north.
Okay.
I was born in Mina, in Niger State. I went to school in Kaduna. And I also, of course, spent some time at Gida Makama in Kano when I started my career. There's a need to just take these kids off the street, put them in some hostels, let them learn education, let them learn skills, let them also get into the Quranic education deeper. But don't leave them out on the streets. Build hostels for them, feed them, train them, educate them, teach them skills. And I think that is something that is very important. When they grow up and become proper people, then we can now be counting on their usefulness in the society, not little kids knocking by your window for 50 kobo, 50 naira, and then wanting to wipe your windscreen. For how long? When they stay that long on the streets, then they will learn certain habits that are detrimental to themselves, to the society, and to the nation. And I think this is all part of what we need to address. So that would be my view. I'll take them, I'll put them in settlements, I'll train them, I'll feed them, I'll provide for them. And before you know it, it will turn around the nation. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Of course, perfectly. It answered it perfectly. Thank you very much, Prof. It was really good to have you on the Business Money Live show.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
We've been speaking to Professor Duro-Oni. The Business Money Live continues after this break. Just stay with us.
I am, of course, a great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
It's good to have you, Mr. Yomi Olubero.
Thank you so very much.
And let me congratulate you again on your appointment as the CEO, Deloitte West Africa.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about our appointment now. What's the expectations when it comes to the appointment to your clients, business alike, and also the stakeholders, regulators? What exactly is the expectation from your appointment?
Well, thank you so very much. So at Deloitte, we say we are AI powered and human led. And what that means is that as an organization, we want to support our clients, our people, and the country at large in leveraging the capabilities that we have within our organizations. Deloitte is the leading global professional services provider by far. It's a $74 billion business with 500,000 people, spread all around the world. And so we've got capabilities across different specialties, right? From tech to AI to data to cyber to just different spectrum of financial advisory capability that clients do need. So my role and what it means to the client is being able to leverage all of those capabilities, bringing expertise within the local market, within the broader Deloitte Africa, which Deloitte Nigeria and West Africa is a member of, and more importantly from within the global network of the firm, to supporting all that our clients really need to achieve. So we're here as enabler, we're here as strategic partners to help our clients achieve their strategic ambitions.
Right, very brilliant. I must say, amazing session you had during the panel session, and you really had lots of insightful, comments to make about that panel session. But what advice, in few words, do you have for CEOs that are actually trying to navigate this economic bandwidth right now? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I think if I can sum it in one, I think many businesses will make do and will benefit significantly from having strategic advisors to help them navigate all of the bottlenecks that we have. There's just so much that organizations needs to deal with, from the barriers to the constraint to the regulation, while still ensuring they focus on their business. And so what successful organizations have done is to ensure that they focus on their core operations, core business, core capabilities, but ensuring that they leverage the skill and the expertise of advisors who've got the strength and the breadth and the specialty to handhold them and help them navigate all of the constraints and all of the challenges. So if I can sum it in one, that would be it, because operating in an environment like Nigeria can be quite challenging. Opportunities are massive. However, navigating and getting through to the end of the game can be very tough. Capital is available, but how accessible, how affordable? Skills are sometimes a challenge. What do you need to do to get them trained, to get them equipped? There are a lot of regulatory risks that you need to deal with. So becoming experts in many of those domains can be very challenging for businesses. So when businesses do that, they have very less time to focus on their own core operations, which is their own primary domain. So my advice, reserve all of your strength and all of your energy to focus on your own primary domain, but make sure that you get strategic advisors and partners to help you through, working in this environment like Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yomilungwe, for stopping by, and congratulations again on your appointment.
Thank you so very much, and I'm really pleased to be here. Fantastic conversation. We didn't have time to go through all of the sessions, but very stimulating. I love what BusinessDay is doing, and we're very proud that you stayed the course for a quarter of a century, and running this show for the 14th consecutive time is something really commendable. So my appreciation to the publisher, Frank, and to all of you who are supporting the process. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right.
For 25 years, BusinessDay has delivered credible journalism, intelligent analysis, and decision-shaping insights to Nigeria and Africa's business community. Introducing Africa's first AI-integrated website, enhanced with powerful new capabilities. At the heart of the new platform is the AI-enabled chatbot, built to help you navigate stories faster, ask questions, get summaries, and access deeper context instantly. Text-to-speech functionality, allowing you to listen to articles on the go.
The Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, has recorded an 11.8% growth in air traffic.
Whether you're commuting, driving, or multitasking, BusinessDay now moves with you. And with our new language translation feature, our journalism becomes even more accessible. You can select your preferred language, thereby expanding reach across diverse audiences in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. This innovation reinforces our commitment to being not just a news platform, but also a smart, accessible, and future-ready business intelligence hub. As we celebrate 25 years of impact, we step confidently into the future, powered by technology, driven by credibility, and focused on you. Visit the new BusinessDay website today and experience the future of news.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Doreen is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Welcome back to the Business Morning Live. Of course, you know, if it's sparking conversation, then we're bringing it to your seat. Welcome to the social listening segment, where we bring the debate, the stories and moments generating conversations across social media. I am Deborah Eze. And now let's get into what is making waves online. For the first conversation today, the Nigerian Army has confirmed the arrest of 2 soldiers, Private Onosoya Ifeoluwa and Upai Unyechi, for working as bouncers at the wedding of social media personalities Abib Amzet, popularly known as Peller and Jabez, in Lekki over the weekend. Both soldiers were identified as personnel of the Nigerian Army's Medical Service and Hospital at Obalende, Lagos. They were allegedly involved in an unauthorized deployment after footage of the wedding, which went viral across social media platforms, shows the soldier in military uniform providing security and escorting guests. Let's see some of the reactions on social media. And of course, the first reaction from Adachi Joke, and she said, why are they arresting them here and there? Surely the government wants hunger to finish the soldiers. How much do they even earn? Another reaction from Laomi Ade, and he said, but I really don't understand why you wake up as a Nigerian Army and agree to be a bouncer for someone without following the proper channel. My question is, will the armies that cover their faces also be arrested? Because I can now see the reason why they cover their faces. Another reaction from Big Stone, and he said, I hope the Nigerian Army will extend this kind gesture to every officer serving as personnel bodyguard to politicians and celebrities. And finally, from Christiana Ujunwa, she said, pay them well enough to be able to say no to some offers. You can't underpay them and still expect them to act normal when good money is involved. So I think the issue here is the fact that the soldiers didn't go through the proper protocol, you know, before having to serve as bouncers with their uniform at a wedding. You know, it's I totally understand the fact that the soldiers are not being paid well enough, and with the little salary that they are being paid, it's not enough to cover whatever it is, expenses and, you know, everything that has to do with them. But I think when you want to do certain things, I think they're arrested because they didn't go to the proper channel. If there is a proper channel for you to go through and then still get your money for the side also, I think it's only proper and right to go through the, you know, the right chain of command, the proper channel, before you actually, you know, come out to say you want to be a bouncer. And I must agree with the second reaction to this story. Why would you as a soldier say, oh, I want to be a bouncer to somebody? For me, I hold soldiers in high demand. You know, your uniform should not be one that, you know, will make you stand as guard to people who actually come for weddings, because the uniform alone should be a sign of respect. I understand that there are actually governance inadequacies, you know, in having to care for the soldiers, but you know, I find it somehow that you would wear your uniform, which is a sign of respect, and want to be a security detail. Really, the story is unfolding. We would know what their punishment is going to be for this illegal duty that they performed at Pele's wedding. Now let's move to the second conversation. A Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja has convicted and sentenced a 55-year-old man, John Nwauto Anoro, for impersonating a legal practitioner and using a forged Nigerian Bar Association seal. The conviction comes amid growing concerns over the activities of fake lawyers in Nigeria, with the NBA and law enforcement agencies intensifying efforts to curb impersonation and protect members of the public from legal fraud. And according to the EFCC, Anoro operated a legal and educational consultancy in the Ikorodu area of Lagos and was arrested by operatives of the Commission on April 20th, 2026, following investigation into a petition he submitted on behalf of clients against the management of Global West Vessel Specialist Nigeria Limited. Let's take a look at some of the reaction from netizens. And of course, the first reaction from Emmanuel Babatunde, and said impersonating a legal practitioner using forged professional credential is a serious offense that undermines trust in the justice system. The conviction sends a strong message that fraud and professional impersonation carry legal consequences and help protect the integrity of the legal profession. Another one for Fidelis Adeze, and she said, imagine trusting someone with your case, paying legal fees, and later discovering they were never qualified to represent you. Another one from Phenomenal, and it said, what Tinubu cannot do does not exist. Lawyers are now impersonating legal practitioners. I wonder why he's been convicted while Tinubu is being celebrated. Another one from Dr. Signal, and it said, good that the court handled this one properly. Impersonating a lawyer and forging an MBA seal is serious. People put their freedom and money in these hands. Hopefully this serves as a warning to others still doing the same. And that is why, you know, I am a firm believer of do not judge a book by its cover. If we can have the picture of the lawyer put up there, let's take a look at the picture. I don't think this lawyer, this man, you know, impersonating as a lawyer, I don't think if maybe I go into his office and I see him and I'll think he's a lawyer. I'm sorry. I don't think so. You know, and this is not the same way we have fake bags, you know, fake watches. That's the same way somebody can actually fake an entire legal career. And some people think it's confidence, but I just think it's one of the loopholes that, you know, has to do with the system. And it's really sad because this is not just, I know that I mentioned that they are fake, you know, bags and watch. This is not just wearing suits. Imagine having to forge an MBA seal and also practice law, you know, as if everything is normal. People would put in their money, come for you for legal advice. And I really wonder what his thought process really was. Every time he has to go to court and say, my lord, this. This is really, and I think that this is why we need professional verification. This is why, you know, visual technology really needs to play a role where we can actually verify if people are really what they say they are. Whether it's a lawyer, a doctor, you know, down to an engineer, we have to really be able to confirm that their credentials are true and you are really trusting the right professional with important part of your life. I think the legal part is actually one of the most important parts of a person's life, and it will really be sad if you're, you know, getting advice from somebody who eventually will get caught up and you find out that the person is an impersonator, the person is a fraud. This is really, really sad. I really am a firm believer that technology would actually, if technology is really imbibed into different sector, it would, you know, curb most fraud activities, things like this, it will curb it. Because imagine where, there's a website where you can go check if this person is really a lawyer, if this person really graduated law school, before you actually entrust them with your legal issues. Good one that he was arrested. I really hope and pray that, the legal system fish out many of the fraud who actually take people's money, knowing fully well that they are not qualified to practice. And for the final conversation today, singer Peter Okoye has alleged that his elder brother and former manager Jude Okoye has initiated another legal battle aimed at stopping him from performing songs released under the P-Square brand. Peter made the allegation in a video shared on his official social media page while responding to claims earlier made by Jude regarding the ownership of P-Square and the ongoing disputes over the group's business affairs. According to the singer, the fresh suit is separate from the ongoing case involving Northside Music and government authorities, insisting that he is only a witness in that matter. Let's take a look at the video if we have one.
Hope you all know that the case right now is between Northside Music and federal government and the state government. I'm only just a witness, so I have nothing to do with it. But there's another one that is coming. Do serve me a letter. Yes. They just did the hearing recently. It go long. It go long. I guess the letter he served me with in support of Paul, that he's the P-Square. During the hearing, first thing they wanted to do was to stop me from performing P-Square song. Damn, Jude.
What? All right, let's take a look at some of the reactions, how netizens are reacting to the story. It's been a buzz for the past 1 week plus, but let's take a look at some of the reactions. We have Lone Mara, and it said, P-Square Music brought joy to millions. Fans would rather see the brothers settle their differences than continue fighting. I really totally agree with you, Mara. No reaction from Luca, and he said, I'm just concerned about the wives in the family caught up in all this. This their matter long from Jaws Plateau State. Which kind brother go run your own blood, brother streets? Another reaction from Zilebwe, and he said, why will he be making money from songs he didn't write, compose or sing, yet he is not grateful? He has finished his own money and then he's poking his nose everywhere. Another reaction from Laramie Ading, and said, anyone who is close to Peter should tell him to stay as far away as possible from Jude. That man stopped being his brother a long time ago and is ready to hurt him. So Peter, run as far as you can from that wicked man. I think in all of the reaction, I totally agree with Lune. There is no point having to pick side, because at the end of the day, fans didn't fall in love with Paul or Peter or Jude. They fell in love with P-Square. And I think it's family, right? I'm of the opinion that I don't think any family is perfect. I totally accept that, there would be a form of dysfunctionality when it comes to family, of course. And this is actually one of it. How far the dysfunctionality will go now depend on the individuals that actually make up the family. But these are things that tend to happen in family, whether in a big or small way. So I think having to pick sides, oh, this person is dancing and he didn't really contribute, this person was the one singing, or he's your other brother, he has every right, or he doesn't have any right to. I think all of that is irrelevant. Nigerians fell in love with P-Square. The P-Square that actually gave us soundtracks on our birthdays, weddings, school parties, even heartbreaks. I think the songs that I like the most are the ones about heartbreak, when the girl actually breaks a man's heart. That's how it's supposed to be. So I think they will find a way. It is a legal battle now. So whatever the legal outcome, I think fans who really love P-Square are hoping that, they get over this and not having to pick sides on who is right and who is not right. And good thing that the case is in court. hopefully, if family system cannot, settle this feud that is going on, hopefully the legal system would somewhat put an end to it. And that's a wrap on the conversations making waves across social media in Nigeria today. Thank you for watching the social listening, and thank you for sitting back for Thursday edition of the Business Morning Live. Until we come your way tomorrow for the Friday edition, I am Deborah Eze. Have yourself a beautiful wet morning.
Great admirer of the impeccable credibility, professionalism, and business savviness of BusinessDay. If you really mean business in Nigeria, start your day with BusinessDay.
BusinessDay is West Africa's leading provider of business intelligence and information, delivering premium content across diversified media platforms, including online, mobile, and print. Since its inception in 2001 with a weekly newspaper production, BusinessDay has expanded its reach to provide exclusive content accessible through print, mobile, and online channels. At BusinessDay, our mission is clear: to be the foremost provider of business and financial content, empowering readers to make informed decisions in Nigeria and Africa. Since our establishment, we have been committed to delivering insightful, relevant, and accurate information about Nigeria's business and finance environment, while contextualizing the impact of global events. We monitor the stock market, analyze the companies driving it, and report on government policies and their economic implications. From decoding market trends to dissecting economic shifts, we offer actionable investment ideas and serve as a compass for decision-makers navigating complexity. Beyond headlines, BusinessDay fosters discussions on critical economic issues through impactful conferences and events. These platforms bring industry leaders together to share narratives that drive innovation and spark meaningful dialogues. Our events galvanize connections, bridging the gap between inspiration and achievement. For businesses seeking visibility, our strong digital presence offers unparalleled opportunities, with millions of followers across social media and a dynamic website attracting visitors from within and outside Nigeria. BusinessDay is the ideal platform to boost visibility for your products and services. If you're looking for in-depth analysis and expert opinions on Nigeria and Africa's business landscape, BusinessDay is your guide.
Welcome to Behind the Headlines here on BusinessDay Television. This is where we go beyond the headlines to make sense of stories published on the BusinessDay newspaper. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Today, fire outbreaks and building-related disasters continue to destroy homes, businesses, and investment across Lagos, often leaving property owners to shoulder significant financial losses. The Lagos State government has launched a digital building insurance scheme aimed at improving compliance with mandatory building insurance, simplifying verification, and strengthening enforcement. The move forms part of a broader effort to reduce economic losses, improve accountability, and encourage greater protection for property owners. The key question now is whether this initiative can strengthen compliance, deepen insurance penetration, and make the state's built environment more resilient. Well, to unpack the policy behind the initiative and what it could mean for residents, businesses, and the insurance insurance sector. We're joined by correspondent for politics and policy here at Business Day, Mr. Taufik Oyedokun. Thank you for joining Behind the Headlines, Taufik.
All right, thank you.
It's good to see you. I think it's my first time I'll be speaking with you on Behind the Headlines, so it's really a delight. Let's talk about the announcement itself.
Okay.
What exactly is the Lagos State government introducing, and why are they introducing it now?
Okay, so if you look at the initiative, the policy, the objective behind the policy is a good one. So according to the government, in the past 1 year, Lagos recorded about over 1,000, almost 1,700 cases of fire incidents, and about almost 20 billion naira losses in that incidents. So, and the reason why this kind of initiative is coming up is to prevent the consequences, the financial losses that always occur when fire incident happens. So it's not to, for me, it's not to prevent the fire itself, but to reduce the consequence. That means the financial consequences. Of course, when fire incidents happen, there are a lot of losses, life and properties, businesses. So this insurance scheme will reduce the financial losses. So any building that is insured, whenever there is fire incident, the resident or the landlord, the property owner, will be able to have some claims that such person will use to rebuild their property or businesses.
Now, we also see that building insurance has long been a legal requirement in Lagos. What has prevented effective compliance and enforcement over the years?
You know, we have a lot of laws in Nigeria that we are not implementing. So implementation is the main issue. Even this new insurance scheme that was just launched last week, the government still lack capacity to implement a lot of laws. So that's the major challenge here. And I think if the government can implement this law, it will be a game changer. Like I said earlier, insurance cannot come and put out fires. It cannot prevent fire. But the consequence, when fire incidents happen, there are a lot of consequences. So it's just to prevent one of the consequences, which is financial consequence. So, and when people know that they are going to pay insurance, so they will be kind of conscious. They will put measures in place so that there will not be fire incidents in their building. And also another thing is that residents can now go to their portal, to the government, they call it the agency is LabBiz. Okay. They can go to the portal and check which buildings are insured.
So LabBiz is Lagos
Building Insurance
Scheme. Okay.
So they can go there and check if a building is insured or not. So any building that is insured, that means okay, the value for the building will be higher. Then once you rent the building, you know that if anything should happen, you are covered. And also it will give the government the opportunity to, because they are doing digitally, so it will give the government the opportunity to know which building is secure, which one is not secure, because of course the insurance companies that will be going into the scheme will do their proper, they will put everything in place, because they are private organizations. They don't want to before they can insure a building, they will ensure that the building is safe. Every safety measure is put in place, because they will not want to be paying claims yearly for that kind of building. They will ensure that okay, this building puts every measure in place to prevent fire incidents. So it's a game changer if the government can implement. Although they've already said that okay, there's a 5 million naira penalty for defaulters, buildings that are not insured.
So does this digital scheme in any way change the way building insurance will be purchased, verified, monitored, and all of that?
So the details of the scheme itself is not in the public yet.
Okay.
But according to what the government released, it's just to prevent to ensure that, okay, when fire incident happen, residents, landlord, and tenants, they have claims. They can claim.
They have policies,
They
right?
have, yes, they have they have premium with this, and they can fall back to something.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, about 19.7 billion naira were lost in 2025 due to fire incident. That's a lot. When you move it from the GDP of the state, it's a lot. So imagine when that happens, you have something to fall back to.
Yeah.
If you lose money or maybe you lose property, you can go back to your insurance company and they will give you some claims.
Yeah.
So it's a game changer.
And let's actually go beyond protecting individuals, property owners, and all of that. What are some of the economic or governance problem that the state is trying to solve with this initiative?
Like I said, the first one is to prevent fire outbreak. But for me, the insurance thing itself is not a preventive method because insurance cannot put out fire. But I think it will help in doing that a little indirectly because the insurance company, before they can put any building under their cover, they will ensure that, okay, the building is safe. They put every measures in place. They have fire extinguisher, they have everything, they have emergency exit and everything that, okay, when there's fire outbreak, can what's it called? Emergency responder, can they easily access the building?
The building, right.
Is it built in a place that, okay, government still have a lot to do aside this insurance thing. So government still have a lot to do aside this insurance thing.
Right.
So government still have to provide a lot of equipment for responder.
Yes.
Fire trucks. They have to construct roads in community so that when fire incident happens, they are able to access the sites in limited time. So, but for this insurance that, okay, they've created, I think it prevents losses. It will limit losses when fire incident happen. So if fire is a disaster that no one can predict, it happens. We can't predict it and it always happens. So when it happens like that, you know that, okay, some people, a fire incident happened at what's it called? Okeani Market, Balogun Market last year and destroyed a lot of properties and warehouses. Many people died as a result of that, not from the fire, just from the outbreak
itself. But do we know how the government intends to enforce compliance itself, and what happens to the property owners that fail to obtain the required insurance? Do we know any of the things that will happen?
Like I said earlier, the details is not in the public yet, but based on the initial statement released by the government, there is 5 million penalty for defaulters, for landlords and property owners that fail to insure their residents. So when will this law start to take place? When will they start enforcing it? They've not stated it, but they are saying that, okay, and they can see your building. If they see that, okay, you are not complying with the regulation, you are not insuring your building. There's an agency that has been empowered to do so. It's called LABSCA, Lagos State Building Control Agency. So it has been empowered to do so. You can seal your building.
That makes
sense.
Maybe
when they take legal step against such property owner, there's 5 million naira penalty that such person will pay for not insuring his building.
Now, Taufik, do you see this in any way in increasing insurance penetration, expanding the market for property insurance in Nigeria? Do you see any of these things happening with this?
You know, the insurance market in Nigeria is still very, very limited, and you know there is trust deficit.
Yes, agreed.
Yes. So people always skeptical when they come to say, well, when we insured our building or car, whenever anything happens, we don't get our claims, everything. So for this policy to be successful, or for the insurance market to expand, there has to be trust. When people see that, okay, some people do it and maybe after fire incident happen, we don't pray for such, but it's a natural disaster that always happen. But when it happens, they get their claims as stated by the insurance company or this thing. More people will be willing to enroll. Of course, it will expand insurance penetration, and also it also boils down to the issue of affordability.
Right.
So there are we have a lot of low-income earners and low-income house owners. There are some places that fine, their house is there, but the houses there, they are for low-income earners. So the insurance company also must have plans that will cover all this category of people, not just for the high income earners or the high rise owners. Also, they have to put a plan together that will cover this category of users in order to expand the initiative to others.
I do hope that this is in no way simply another regulatory requirement, or do you think that this offers a stronger financial case for protecting assets against unexpected losses? I think you've answered that to a large extent.
Of course.
So we're not seeing a case where this is just another regulatory requirement that Lagos State government, just brings out of nowhere. You don't see it as that.
No, well, I've said it earlier that we have a lot of laws that we are not implementing. And government also lack capacity or maybe unwilling to the political will to implement some laws. But I think if the government is determined that this law, we are going to implement it, it will be a game changer, like I've said earlier. So I think it's a good one if the government can implement it. But implementation has always been a major challenge in Nigeria, not only in Lagos State, across the federation. When it comes to implementing laws, we have good law, fine laws on documents, but implementation is the main.
It's always a big challenge. Yes. As politics and policy correspondent here at Business Day, what should we be watching out for in the coming month to judge whether this policy is delivering the intended results? Of
course, we as journalists will continue to do our work, do investigation as to in the next, by the next few months, if any fire outbreak happens, we'll reach out to the victims to see if they are covered under any insurance plan. And also, we'll be monitoring the trend. We are going to get more information from the government as to how are they planning to implement this new initiative in order to ensure that Lagosians are complying with it. Yeah. So also we'll be speaking with property owners also. Are they fine with the initiative? Are they in support of it? Do they think it will change anything going forward? That's what we'll be doing.
And what should we as regular citizens, what should we also be looking out for?
Of course, for regular citizens, what we should be looking out for is to believe that this initiative, like I've said earlier, is based on trust. If citizens say that this initiative, they know that when fire happens, there are always losses. They know, everybody knows that. But are they sure that when they are covered, when they pay for insurance, they will get their claims when fire accident? Yes. If they are assured of that, I'm very sure people will key into the initiative. And of course, they will be expecting government to even do far more than that. In terms of providing the right equipment and the enabling environment for first responders, rescuers, Lagos State Fire Service to operate when there is fire incident. Fine, they are one of the best in the country based on reports, but they still need to do more in preventing fire outbreak or in responding promptly to fire outbreak. Not just insurance, like I've said, insurance will not put out fire. It's to prevent losses that are always happen after fire.
Yeah.
But the main focus of the government is to prevent the fire, and in doing so, is one of their own responsibility is to provide adequate equipment for fire service, and also ensure that buildings have the safety measures in place to ensure that no fire incidents. We have to do every possible means to prevent it. That's it.
Well, thank you very much, Taufik Oyedokun, correspondent politics and policy at Business Day Media Limited. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Behind the Headlines. This is where we close the curtain here, Behind the Headlines. Until tomorrow, stay safe.
All right.